Get away from that. I'm in this room for the next 2 seconds.
Hey, that's nice. You ain't gotta go anywhere. I would say you're already that would insinuate that you're a failure, so. All I ask is you don't sit on my computer. Wowza. It's awesome. Pastor ended a little early. We'll give him a couple more minutes before we started. By the way, I put WD-40 if anybody was in here yesterday with that door open and closing. I put WD-40 on the just so it's not sounding like we're killing somebody now. That was awful. I kept trying to come in to fix the stream. It was like, ee! And I was like, oh, Lord. I was just cringing every time I touched the door. It's awesome. Amen. If I have to, I can go grab some more chairs and we just sit in the peripherals. Everybody find a place. Awesome. Got about another 2 minutes and we'll get started. Stay on schedule. Is everybody that's here this morning here last night? Yeah? That's pretty awesome, wasn't it?
We weren't here last night.
Oh, you missed it.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, that's awesome. How many pastors say? 14, 15? 15? Man, that's so awesome. So awesome. A lot of those kids are new. Like a lot of those kids are new. people. My friend. Hey, hey. Well, got one in there. Last call. All right, y'all. Hey, hey. Couldn't do it. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm going to be holding this, although you can't hear me coming out of the speakers. We're doing this for YouTube, so. Morning, Sister Rosemary. Morning, Brother Quante.
We didn't have to call us out. We could have just.
Oh, you're good. We just getting started. So if you are in here, you are looking forward to hearing starting a Sunday school bus from scratch. Come on in, bro. I think we have one more seat. We might have to do some scooting. Wowza. I got a full room. No pressure. So if you're in this room, you're in here to listen and learn about starting a Sunday school from scratch. Sunday school bus route from scratch. So now, anybody in here have a Sunday school bus route already? I know you two do. You do. I know you guys are starting one. Sister Rende, y'all have one. So I wish Pastor would have done this one because that dude's a beast when it comes to starting Sunday school routes. But we have had Sunday school routes, I think he said it earlier, for about 14 years. And his story is so powerful when you start listening to Pastor's story on how we got involved in bus ministry here. My wife and I actually moved here from Missouri. The very first bus route that I ever helped start, I was 9 years old. And we started a bus route to a local community, picking up a bunch of Hispanic people. It was a town that was primarily Hispanic folks that were there or here for work. And so I got on a bus at the age of 9, and we started knocking doors and pounding the streets. But I will say the very first thing that you have to do if you're trying to start a bus route is, number one, you need to pray, you need to fast, and you need to have a burden. Everything we do, we're doing it as if unto the Lord. Everything we are doing, we're doing with the help of God. And you cannot build anything without God. The Bible says they that labor in vain, unless he's in the middle of it. And you're not going to do it without God. No matter how much you try, you can pound the streets all day long, twice on Sundays. Your bus ministry will not go anywhere if God is not in it. And so you need to pray for direction. You need to pray for burden. But most of all, you need to pray, God, help me not be so focused on the number, but help me be focused on the soul. Because how do we define a successful bus route? How do we define it? By the amount of kids that get on our bus, or by the fact that we're even picking kids up on our bus? Is that bus route still worth it to you to run it for one kid? Truly, if that's all you ever pick up on your bus, is it worth it to you? Or are you going to give up and quit because you feel like you're a failure because you only have one kid? Well, what if that one kid that you're picking up goes on to become a missionary? And now all of a sudden that one kid that you picked up turns into 1,500 people in one weekend where he's out preaching a revival and you picked one kid up. How are you defining success? Are you so focused on, God, I don't have 35 on my bus and I'm not running a big Sunday school or a big school bus like we have out here. We have 3 school buses out here. Is my bus not full, so I'm just going to give up? Now, I'm not saying don't go out and pound the streets. I have one and I'm a success. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to redefine your definition of success to where even if it is only one. Now, I'm going to still go out. I'm still going to beat doors. I'm still going to go out and I'm still going to fill my bus up. I'm still going to do all the things, clean my bus out. But it should be worth it even if only one gets on your bus. You should be having a burden for souls, not for numbers. Ask God to guide you to the right neighborhoods and to the right open doors. Every time we go out on outreach, we pray, God, lead us and guide us today. Help us to go to the one house. God, even if it's just one, help me to find the one that is hungry for you. You cannot do a bus route without the approval and support of your pastor. He's not there to control things. I promise you he's not a control freak. He isn't. But you need to do everything that you do in the church, in the kingdom of God, with the permission of your pastor. He's standing on the wall. He sees things afar off that you don't see. There's certain things going on. There's certain demographics going on that you have no clues going on in the background. You might just grab just some guy, that your best friend, and say, hey, let's go do a bus route. And you don't know it, but your friend has secret sin in his life, but pastor can kind of tell that, and maybe that's not the right person to go with you, or maybe he's trying to use them in a different area. So everything you do, make sure your pastor and your leadership are in agreement with starting a brand new route. Gather a small, faithful team who will commit to going out weekly and building relationships. You don't need a huge team, but you definitely need a dependable team. You know, we have a pretty big church here. Not everybody in this room probably comes from a church as large as our church. I remember when I was back in Missouri, my grandpa was my pastor. We had a small rural church. We had about 125 of us, and that was after many years of knocking doors. But when we first started a bus ministry, we were running, 75 to 80 people. And so we had a dependable team of 4 people that would show up and do bus ministry. And then as our church began to grow, we had more people added, and then more people added, and then people got burdens for bus ministry. And so, hey, start you a bus route. You say, well, what if I don't have a bus? Well, how you getting to church? Surely you got a vehicle. Fill your own vehicle up, and then go to your pastor and say, hey, pastor, my minivan, I got 6 kids in my minivan and 2 on the floor, so the local police don't see them. No, I'm just kidding. We've done it before. Just kidding. Anyway, so once you start filling your vehicle up and you're overrunning, run it again. Empty it. Hey, y'all go inside, go get you breakfast or something, and run it again. And so start with what you have. A lot of churches can't afford just to go out and drop money on a brand new bus. You know how much we spend on the majority of our buses out there? $15,000 to $2,000 a bus. And we run them into the ground, and we take them to scrapyard, and we do it again. Just those small 15-passenger buses. You can find them all day long on Facebook for, $2,000, $3,500 right in there. We'll run them in the ground because, Pastor said it earlier, when you pray for rain, you got to expect mud, right? You're going to have the rip seats, the gum, the mud. They're going to destroy these vans. As much as you try to clean them, they're going to destroy these vans. So as soon as you're done with it, scrap it and start over again. Grab you another one. But a lot of churches can't afford to buy buses right away. That's all right. Start with what you have. Start with your personal vehicle. Make multiple trips if you need to. Once you are consistent and committed, you can go to your pastor with proof of success. And when you approach him about purchasing a bus or a van, you can say, hey, look, pastor, sorry I was late for church. I had to make 3 rounds to pick kids up. We brought 30 kids to church in my own minivan today. And see what he does with it. Recruit kids in every complex you go to. I'm telling you, your best outreach tool is already sitting on the bus with you or in your own personal vehicle. You roll up to an apartment complex and you go to knock doors, especially if you've never been there before, you have no clue where these kids are staying. But you know who does? The kids who are in that neighborhood. And not only that, but when other parents see you with the neighborhood kid, you automatically have credibility with them, and they see you as a safe place. As men, I always try to go out when I knock doors. I always try to have my wife or my children with me, especially if I'm driving an unmarked white van, right? You roll up in an unmarked white van and, you jump out and you're by yourself and you're knocking doors. Hey, can your kids ride the bus with me? They're probably not going to let you do it. Let's just be honest. But if my wife and my kids are with me and I have the neighborhood kid with me who is now knocking the doors for me, I'm seen as a safe place. That's why we always try to mark our vans. If you go out and look, do we have any more unmarked vans anymore? I don't think we do. I think we've marked all of them. Because we want them to recognize, number one, the bus that they're riding, but number two, we want them to recognize that this is from a church and not just some random person rolling into their neighborhood trying to get kids on the bus. And so, when you recruit the kids that are already there, they know where every single other kid lives. And so this is what I like to do when I roll off a bus. Hey, where do your friends live? Can you show me? Matter of fact, can you go with me? Knock on the door. Invite them to church. And now you've got the neighborhood kid knocking on the door for you. I ain't touched the door yet. They're knocking on the door for you. Hey, I'm going to church Sunday. Can Isaiah go with me? Well, yeah, Isaiah can go with you. I've done recruited my own help. And then I'll step in and say, hey, my name's Brother Bradshaw. I'm with the First Pentecost Church here in Union City, Tennessee. We're just out knocking doors today, trying to get some more kids on a bus. We have an awesome Sunday school program. We bus in around 120, 180 kids every single Sunday. Everybody gets a hot meal. It's VBS Sunday every Sunday. They're going to come home with snacks and hyped up on sugar, and we would love for them to ride our bus today. And a lot of times the parents are like, yeah, absolutely. We're going to run through here about 10:15, we're going to pick the kids up. Some of them earlier than that, depends on how close you live to the church. We're going to run through and pick the kids up. Thank you so much for entrusting your children with us today. And then when I go to drop them off, same thing. If parents are there, same thing. Man, thank you so much for letting Isaiah ride the bus today, man. We had an awesome day today. And we begin to build that rapport with the parents in our communities. And you would be surprised how many adults that have visited church because we picked their kids up on a bus. I say this all the time. When you take a kid by the hand, you take a parent by the heart. And that is so true. The domino effect that begins to happen when you begin to recruit the ones that nobody else really wants. A kid can't pay tithes. A kid is not offering anything financially to the church. If anything, and it's bad to think about it, they're a drain. If you stop and think about it, you're buying candy, you're putting gas in the buses, they're destroying the buses, they're destroying the doors. I just replaced a door 2 days ago. They kicked the bathroom door in. We're replacing doors, we're replacing broken windows, ripped carpet, ripped seats. But you know what? It's all worth it for the one. For the one kid that gets on your bus. For the one. It was worth it for you, wasn't it? Thank God somebody took time to talk to my great-great-great-grandparents. Thank God somebody took the time to let them know about a God that loved them beyond any comprehension. Thank God somebody took the opportunity because of that. Now, I'm seventh generation Pentecost because somebody took the time to talk to one person. It reminds you of the story of that young man that's walking down the beach and he's throwing the starfish back in the water. I'm sure a lot of us have heard that story. And a man comes up to him and says, "What in the world are you doing? You know you can't save them all." He said, "Tell that to the one that I just threw back." I'm telling you, if we do it for one, it is worth it. Who is going to be in heaven because you knocked the door on Saturday? Who's going to be in heaven because you reached one person? I did a short segment for Brother Booker here a while back talking about the boy with the fishes and the loaves. When he got up that morning, his mama packed lunch for one person. A teenager who she knew was not going to pack lunch for himself. Because if you have teenagers, let's be honest, they do the bare minimum. Heaven touch my kids. But she packed lunch for one young man. And you know what he did? He brought what he had to Jesus. And because mama packed lunch for 5,000 men, that's not counting the women and children, were fed. Because one. So I know I keep stressing it. Is one worth it to you? I promise you it is. And you have no clue who's going to have the opportunity to come to Jesus because you reached that one who is then the gateway to the revival that God wants to do. Choose your area wisely. We have some areas here in town that even the police won't go in by themselves. But you know who rolls in there on a church bus and gets off and goes knock doors? First Pentecostal Church does. It's shut down now. Surprisingly, the murders in our town have dropped with that as well. But choose your area wisely. When you're driving through town, you can, and I wish I had some slides to show you. You can see which houses have kids and which don't. Look on the front porch. Where are the bikes? Look out in the yard. Basketball goal, trampoline, bounce houses, playhouses, Hot Wheels. Those houses have kids. Go to another house. The yard is immaculate. They've got mums on the front porch, and the place looks well put together. I'm not saying they don't have kids, but more than likely, they probably don't. And so just look, just watch. Pick one neighborhood in an apartment complex that you can visit consistently, because consistency is key. We have teams that go out every single Saturday. Does that mean you personally have to knock doors every single Saturday? Maybe in the beginning, but once you start getting help, you can put yourself on a rotation of, hey, I'm going to take this Saturday off. Can you go this Saturday? Absolutely. And then the next person, hey, can you go out this Saturday? And then you can put yourself on a rotation so you're not getting so burnt out, but at the same time, those kids are seeing a face consistently every single week. Somebody is talking to that kid every single week. Now, you're going to start small and work your way big. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to go out. But we prefer to try to keep the same person going to the same complex every time so that they're identifiable. I don't mind going and helping somebody. I love rotating buses. I don't mind going out and helping somebody and knock doors with them, but I try to have a familiar face with me at all times. That way the kids can identify, hey, But most of them know me because we do children's church all the time, so the kids are always with my wife and I. So I can generally jump on any bus and not have a problem because everybody knows me because I talk to everybody. But a lot of our bus drivers and bus monitors, because it's important not to be by yourself on a bus, we try to have a minimum of 3 adults on a bus, or adults and teens on a bus, because one accusation is all it takes. But if there's always consistently 2 adults on the bus, a monitor, a driver, and then we try to have a third who will go and knock the doors. They'll jump off the bus and run out and knock the doors and try to get these kids to come. Now, I like the way that Brother Booker does his. They don't even really have to go knock on the doors to get them anymore. The kids are out waiting on them just like they would the school bus, and they just jump right on the bus and we roll on. Realistically, though, I doubt that's going to happen to you. You're probably going to have to go pull them out of bed. There have been times where we've gone to apartment complexes, the front door standing wide open. You walk in, mom and dad are passed out on the couch from last night's high, and you're having to help a kid get dressed and tie his shoes and get him ready for church. That does happen from time to time. But as you grow, you begin to expand. You can add the next block, and then add the next block, and then add the next block, and then start a new route in a different part of town, depending on how big your town is. We have routes that go to Martin, Tennessee, routes that go to Fulton, Tennessee, and Fulton, Kentucky. We have routes that go to Reeves, Kenton. We have routes that go to Clinton. We have routes here in Union City. We have 3 routes here. 4 routes? 3. 3 routes here in Union City. Man, I'm so glad y'all came in. Got 3 routes right here in Union City. And so we have multiple routes going to multiple different towns in our surrounding areas that are all within 30 minutes of Union City that we are running these buses. The easiest way for us to do things, anybody use door hangers? Use door hangers with a phone number on it. You can use a Google Voice, by the way, for a church phone number, and you can put it on all your flyers for free. And you can add up to 5 people to get that same phone. So anytime somebody calls, it'll ring those 5 people in order as you have them. It'll start off and just start going down the list. And then whoever answers it can then, hey, 2501 East Main, West Main needs a ride to church this morning. And so you can start keeping track of that, and you can have multiple people helping you. And it's a way that you are not putting your own personal cell phone number. And if you're comfortable with that, do it. But we have a number that we put on there, and it goes to the church phone line. Matter of fact, it was just ringing, so I had to shut it off. Visit every week. Your Saturday visitation is just as important as Sunday morning. Knock doors, check in with families, and show that you care. Many kids will come back simply because they know that you care enough to stop by every week. Candy, and bribes go a long way. The bus, if you are not in Sunday school, but you are running a bus, or you are a bus monitor, the bus should be the most exciting part of their entire week. It should not be get in, sit down, and shut up. It's important for safety, yes, for them to sit while we are moving. But play some upbeat Christian music. Sing songs. Have small door prizes or games. Make every single rider feel like they belong. Your bus should be a moving church service before they ever step foot in the church. They get in, and it sounds like the first church of the frigid air. They do not want to come back because it is just as boring as school. But when I make it exciting by doing chants, I make it exciting by getting those kids as involved as I can get them, they want to keep coming. When I learn their face, when I learn their name personally, hey, Zach, so good to see you. I missed you last week, buddy. Where in the world were you at? Oh, man, I was at my dad's house this last weekend. Bro, I'm so glad that you're back. And you start to build that rapport with these children. They will fall in love with you as a person. And then they will become your greatest advocates. They will become your greatest outreach tools because they go home, and because of the love that you have shown them and the love that they feel, they will start to recruit other kids to start coming with them because they want to spread that love and they want their friends to feel the same love that they do. This is a big one that everybody lacks in. Keep records. Everybody lacks in this area. I do not care who you are. Everybody lacks in this area. When we have a new kid get on our bus and we don't make this an absolute requirement, although for my sanity I wish that we would. But do we have phone numbers to reach somebody if there's an emergency? Do we have permission for their kids, or did the kid just tell you, yeah, my mom gave me permission? Did you talk to an adult to find out if that kid actually can ride or not? Are you kidnapping somebody's kid and later they're going to be calling the cops because they don't know where their kids are at? It's happened from time to time. Write every kid's name down, their address and their age and their parents' contact information, and keep great records. Keep attendance weekly so that you can follow up with the kids that missed last week. Bro, I missed you so bad last week. I'm so glad you're back on the bus. Go out on Saturday. Make sure they're still there. We have the problem of people move at the drop of a hat because they're running away from rent money, right? And so they're moving from address to address to address, and we've got to go try to track them down. We've got to go try to find them. And so if we have phone numbers, which those change about every other week too for the same reasons, but if we have phone numbers, we can get a hold of these parents and figure out, hey, where are y'all at? I'm missing little Johnny in Sunday school. And we can go get them. Now, I know that's something that we're currently trying to work better here at the First Pentecostal Church is doing these. And so I've already talked about always have at least 2 adults per vehicle. Keep emergency contact information handy. Make sure your drivers are properly licensed. And make sure that you're doing background checks. Because who is driving your bus? We can't have certain folks driving buses and being around kids, which goes back to make sure your pastor has approved everybody on your bus. Never leave kids alone on your van or bus, even for a moment, preferably 3 people on the bus at all times. Connect with your parents, not just your kids. Smile and talk with your parents every single chance you get. Offer to pray for their needs, and if you can, we have quite often supplied some of their needs. But when your parents see that your team genuinely cares, not just for their children, but for them, you will start reaching entire generations, not just kids. When I tell you the domino effect that has happened here at our church when we started really getting active in bus ministry, it goes into prison ministry. It goes into jail ministry. It goes into Changes Rehabilitation over in Fulton, where we're in there. It goes into our community outreach ventures, and it comes into our bus ministry. I can't tell you how many times I've been in the Obion County Jail here, and we're preaching, and a man comes up to me and he says, "My kids ride y'all Sunday school buses." I never even guess it, and then I start connecting the dots of who's who, and then they get out of jail, and because we've been picking their kids up, guess who comes to church Sunday morning? That man who's been in jail for the past 9-10 months, because we have been caring for his children while he's been locked up. And same thing with the women. We have had multiple women. Celebrate every win. Does anybody know how much time I have? Let me look real fast. 6, 7. Sorry. Celebrate every win, regardless of how small it is. We picked one new rider up on the bus today. Celebrate it huge. Make every kid feel as if they are the only kid. Bro, go over the top. Whatever you got to do. When you make that kid feel so loved, your bus, yes, it takes work, but your bus will start filling up. You'll be knocking doors in one area of town, and the kids will start saying, "My friend lives over here. Can we run over there?" Sure. It happens all the time. Absolutely. We'll go back. We'll go get them. And then I've got a new rider today. Starting a bus route is very frustrating. You're pouring money, and you're pouring time, and you're pouring effort, and it feels like it goes nowhere. But the law of the harvest is, if you sow, you will reap. It will happen. You're going to start small, and it is so frustrating because you're looking at churches like ours that's busting in 120 to 200 kids, and you're getting frustrated because your church picked up 3 this week, and you have 4 people in Sunday school counting your 2 kids. And it is so frustrating sometimes. But it goes back to, are you going after numbers or are you going after souls? Because when you stop making it about numbers and you start making it about souls, your mindset will change, and all of a sudden it's not such a burden, not in the good way, to spend your time to go knock doors. Pastor said it yesterday, well, what about my family? I'm not going to be spending a whole lot of time with my family. That's why I take my family with me. There is no greater joy than I have than watching my son go up and knock a door. And I haven't put it in him. He's just emulating what he sees Daddy do. And there's no greater joy than when I'm walking through Walmart and I see one of our kids, and my kids are running to them and giving them hugs and saying, "Isaiah, we missed you at Sunday school today." And I hadn't said a word to that kid. I don't even say anything to the kid. Generally, I go talk to the parent. "Hey, man, thank you so much for letting Isaiah ride the bus. Thank you so much." And then I'll be like, "Hey, what's up, Isaiah? Give me some. Give him a fist bump. Give me some." And I make him feel, Brother Pierce, I make him feel like he's the only kid in the world in that moment. And when that begins to happen, I'm telling you, you will transform somebody's life unintentionally. But when you shift your mindset into, I have a burden for kids. I have a burden to see my bus full. So I'm going to pound the streets. I don't care if I pound the streets 3 weeks and all I'm doing is wasting gas money because not a single kid gets on my bus. I'm going to do so faithfully because God has to. I'm telling you, He has to honor your sacrifice. He has to, or He's a liar. Cast your bread on the water. It will not return unto you void. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. The revival that you are so desperately seeking begins with getting out and pounding the streets. Getting out and knocking every door that you can knock until your knuckles hurt. So you go and you use somebody else's hand. "Come here, knock on the door because my fingers are hurting." Whatever it is that you got to do, if you start and you are consistent, your bus will fill up. And then you know what we do? We hand it off to somebody and we go start another route.
and then we hand it off to somebody, and we go start another route. You know how many buses we started with here? None. We had one bus that picked up the shut-ins. One. And it was one of those plain white vans, if you know what I mean. But Pastor had a vision. And he went and he decorated it big. What was our first van? Do you remember what it was? I got a picture of it. That's right. That's right. Sunday school is cool. That's right. That was our first van. But he's seen it. He had a picture of the sketch where he seen it in a vision, and he sat down and he sketched it out. And he went home and he talked to now First Lady, Sister Yolanda Uzzle, and he said, "Babe, I had a vision today." And she started weeping because she had the exact same vision that day. And they started with one kid. And God has grown our bus ministry to the point now where we have 3 of the actual school buses. And at one point we had 13 vans. 13, 15 passenger vans. It started with one. One rider. One family. One child receiving the Holy Ghost. It is all worth celebrating. One is worth celebrating. If heaven rejoices over one that simply repents, why can't we celebrate over one that just gets on the bus? Even if it's the knucklehead that won't sit down and won't listen. And every time you push on the gas pedal, you see him standing up. And he's flipping over seats. And he's dragging the mud in. And he stinks because he ain't showered. Because mom and dad ain't helped him. And he's wearing the tattered clothes. And I'm telling you, you'll see it all. You'll see it all. And once you really, truly get invested in bus ministry, and you truly settle and you give it your all, and you start it from nothing. God, all I have is my car. But if you'll fill it up, God, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to knock the doors, and I'm going to do it until I'm exhausted. I'm going to do it until I'm so frustrated. And you know what will happen? God will fill your car up. And then God will fill your bus up. And then God will fill your school bus up. And then you'll have to go buy another one. And now you're running 2 for the same route. And God will do it for you, just like He's done it for us. But you have to be consistent. You have to be prayed up. And you have to have a burden to see lost kids saved. Because my Sunday school room will be empty if you don't go out and reach them. My Sunday school room will have only the kids that are being raised in the church. And those kids out there who need Him so desperately. The gangs are reaching them. At 7 and 8 years old, the gangs are reaching them. We have to be just as fervent, if not more fervent than they are, to reach these kids. Brother LaQuante is sitting in here today. I'm telling you, that joker used to ride my bus when he had cornrows, and he asked me if I'd drop him off last because he had to go home and face hell. You'll have that. You'll have kids. Can you drop me off last? Absolutely, I can drop you off last. Because I didn't know what you were facing at home, Brother LaQuante. I had no clue. But you know what? He rode my bus when I was riding it in Hickman. And then he turned into a bus monitor, and we were running it together. Go reach the one and watch as God will give you the increase. Thank you. This just stays hot the whole time. So oh, you're fine.
App did you say that you use for like the numbers and stuff?
Oh.
For people to call.
Oh. Google Voice.
Okay.
Yep, and it's free.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And it's a lot better than handing out your personal cell phone number. 100%. They won't hear you through the speakers, but it's so loud, so just use it.
Jaylee, where are you going?
Now I gotta go figure out which one I want. Watch yourself.
You got the spot.
double parked even. Hey now.
They were here first. So we didn't walk in. And she's gonna be in here with this one too. No, I'm staying in here. You going in? You're staying with me? Okay, me too. No? Okay.
Is this your classroom?
Yes, ma'am.
It's so cute.
Thank you. People walking in that I've been stealing stuff from, so you ain't gonna hear much too. What's up, girlfriend? No, ma'am. It's adorable. No, thank you. But did you check with Brother Booker? Okay. And Philip got Brother James and Sister Kim. Well, we're going to get started. How's everybody doing so far this morning? Was anybody in Brother Pelletier's? Oh my goodness, that was great. I'm like, we are totally going to do cheese balls on the head. That was hilarious. Maybe not in the main sanctuary. I could see Sister Pelletier's eyes. She's like really wide. Anyway, well, we're going to go ahead and get started because it's time to start. And I was informed this is for that. You're just hearing me at normal volume. So, welcome. You're in my space. This is my classroom. And I thought, well, when we were making a schedule, what better spot? I said, well, I don't know if you can make it work out to where I can just teach in my room because I can show you all the good, bad, and the ugly in here. So, I'm glad you came in. And so whether we're decorating our classrooms for VBS or a kids ministry hallway, hopefully you leave a little encouraged and inspired, and maybe you can do it with the money you got to do it with. And even sometimes that budget is laughably small, and sometimes there is no budget. So first, we're going to start. You can follow along in your handout because that's what I'm going to be going off of. Start with a budget. Nobody likes to have numbers and restraints, but like anything, there's always some kind of like, that's where we have to stop. So, I'm going to go to Luke 14 and 28. And yes, I put a little Bible in a budget class for decorating the classroom. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it or not? Finish it. Sorry, I'm adding two. So, Jesus was not talking about your Sunday school class here. But there's a principle I think we can apply here where you're not going to go do something and it's not wise anyway to go do something and not have some kind of budget or, set forth the effort and make those parameters. So what can we spend, whether we're decorating our class or, like I said, VBS or a kids service? What can we spend? Another thing that might, like I do sometimes, can we set something aside to make do for it, like looking ahead? So maybe I know that I'm going to start a new quarter the beginning of February. So can I set $5 aside each week from now till then? which I probably need to, for the next quarter to be ahead of the game and make that budget be there. Does your church have a Sunday school budget? Is that something that the church can do? And the one that is not my least favorite, but can we do a fundraiser or ask for donations? In Luke 14:27, while we're at it, it says, whosoever does not bear his cross cannot be my disciples. Listen, today, what we're talking about, sometimes carrying that cross looks like a tight budget and attempting to make Dollar Tree banner look like it came straight out of Party Barn. But you can do it. We're bearing the cross because we want to bear the fruit. Number 2, we're going to think outside of the box. So here is where the fun starts, and I challenge you to see what you can do on what you got. Maybe everybody likes a challenge. Well, maybe not the ice challenge. That wasn't so much fun. But this could be a fun challenge. How little can you spend? Maybe you challenge yourself. I have just this wall is 26 feet. How little can I spend to cover this 26-foot wall? Like I said, if you make it a game, make it something fun. Go on a treasure hunt. Who likes to thrift or yard sale? Okay. Then you're my people right here. While I don't go do that, like yard sale and stuff that much, girl, we had last VBS, our entire gym was decorated from stuff Sister Jenna's mom got at yard sales. Like, she got everything, and it looked so good. Even this year, she found clearance at Dollar Tree. Like, it's already cheap, and she got it on clearance there. I encourage you to go on a treasure hunt. Yard sales has already been mentioned. Thrift stores, clearance bins. Have you looked in your closets at home? Have you looked into church storage? There's many places you can go hunting. Another thing that you could say, what can be reused and repurposed. So like I've decorated this room. I have stuff left over. Do I save it? Is there enough to keep? Is it worth my store? Do I have the space to store it? If I can, well, we could keep it and we can use it later. Which is that's why I wanted to teach in here. Like this paper here has been sitting over in my basket probably for 4 years. And I'm like, well, hey, I wanted to do something bright. And it worked out that I stored it. But it's been sitting there for 4 years, but I had the space to do it. So that was a blessing. Creativity, I can't speak today. Creativity is born in tight places. Small secret here is I really don't find myself feeling like a creative person. My sister can sit down and she can draw something out of her brain. It's just totally original. And so to me, that's what creative looks like. But the creativity you see here I seen in it, a girlfriend, like this back wall, sent me a periodic table of the Bible, and I was like, I gotta do that. And so there it is. But for me, in my mind, I had put myself in this box because I can't just think something up. I have to see something and be inspired and go off of something else. But maybe creativity doesn't look like that for you. Maybe it's different. Maybe you're like, oh, I see all this stuff. Well, I can make it this. Or maybe you're one of those lucky people that I would consider creative, and you can get these images in your brain and you can portray it out there. But for me, I'm very much a duplicator. I will see something and I will build it. And I'm looking at it right now. I don't usually use my phone, so sorry about that. I usually use paper. So at the end of the day, maybe we were in our box of creativity. Maybe we're just not creative. So I would say find someone in your church who loves to craft. we all probably know somebody that like is making their own wreaths, or you can just tell. You know crafty people. They talk about it, they do it, you just know. Maybe there's a teen, young people want to help. They want something to do. Maybe there's a teen, maybe there's an elder that's maybe not in a position anymore that's looking for something to do. Sometimes you just got to ask and share your vision and let others shine. That's the body of Christ in action. Number 4, we're going to go to budget-friendly supplies. Some of my favorites are poster board. They're inexpensive, they're versatile, and they're easy to cut, which is really important. I still can't cut a straight line, but they are easy to cut. Tablecloths. You can put them on the ceiling, the table, the walls. Anywhere you can think of, tablecloths can go. Wrapping paper, roll paper, or bulletin paper. It's like a staple for me personally. And you can order it off Amazon, so that makes it really convenient. Hobby Lobby, teacher stores. It covers a large area for a small amount of money. And it's very easy. Like, you didn't have to, you're not piecing it together. It's just one solid piece. Balloons. They're not necessarily known for their longevity, lasting a long time, but they are cheap. They make a huge impact. I mean, you can walk around this building. All these backdrops were here. They look 100 times better and like $1 million with balloons on them. And balloons are so inexpensive, and it's just your time. My favorite crafting besties. While you're here, you just get to hear all about my things. My number 1 is my hot glue gun. It's over. I keep it over there. My daughter put it away. And everything in this room is pretty much hot glued up. I do have small regrets at the back wall. Well, we're going to do bloopers. We're in here, so we're going to do it. Each of those pieces of paper are glued up individually. If I were to go back in time, I would have put a solid backdrop behind them. So, my January self, I'm very, very sorry about my decisions, but it did work. Scissors, clear packing tape, and Sister Lisa White, I had to send her after some. I'm like, please, and it has to be the Walmart brand, the Pen and Gear, Scott's, none of that. It won't do. It has to be that kind. And sometimes when I'm a little bougie and I got the extra budget, I'm going to grab some Mod Podge, because I do not actually have any in here, but I generally make these signs and I seal them with Mod Podge. It makes them look super finished, my version of professional, and it keeps them from like getting moisture and stuff. And sometimes we struggle with moisture in here, so that's important to me. Number 5. Well, nope, it's number 6. My personal handout is wrong on my phone. We're going to go into free or low cost resources. That's where we flip over. So Canva, I'm an Adobe Express girl. I'm just putting it out there. I liked it. I do all my stuff on my cell phone, but you cannot beat free. So if you do not have Canva through your church or whatnot, on the handout there is included the website to where to apply for it. I hear often that you have to apply twice, but once you get it, it is free. Like everything we do, we have, I think, 10 people on our church Canva. I'm using it for Sunday school. The sound booth is using it for that. Out there, all that stuff you're seeing on the screen, we're all using the free Canva for nonprofit, and it's helping not just Sunday school, it's helping all the teams in the church. Local library. So I have volunteered for our local library for a long time. So outside of this event, I get all my copies for free for my volunteer hours at my local library. These little pieces you see on the wall, like the atoms and microscopes, Our library here in town actually has a die cut station. I'm not sure if that's the right way to refer to it, but they have huge things. We did VBS and we had a train and we had huge hearts. And then they have little stuff like this. I even made my border. I said, why have I been buying border when I can go? They have like 20 different borders. And I didn't even know it existed until I think Sister Jenna's mom told me about it. And so now I find myself using it every quarter and for every event we have. I'm trying to think if I had another. Libraries. I've used meeting rooms when we've been hosting events here. I've been able to use meeting rooms there to make my large props because currently I live in a little bitty apartment. And so if I do anything at home, there's no room. So I'm a big fan of hitting up your local library, and I use multiple. So the one I get free copies from is in the town I live in, but Union City is right here and where I'm already at for the church. So those would be my 2 top recommended free or low cost resources. Number 6 is where to shop. And I actually taught this out in California, that one teacher was like, thank you. Every week I get a receipt from Target. And I cannot imagine not thinking about that. So Hobby Lobby has bigger items, and that's often where I get my roll paper from now, because we sadly lost our teacher supply store in town. But they run sales like every other week, so if it's not on sale this week, it's going to be on sale next week. Dollar Tree, we're still upset they're at $1.25 and $1.75 depending on where you're at, but it's still under $2. So that's where I get a lot of my stuff as well. Walmart, it's easily accessible and their rates are fairly decent. Dollar General, again, they're everywhere. You ain't gonna get away from them. I get a lot of my markers and stuff from them. Amazon, what can I say? You shop off your phone, you have options. Anybody need a backdrop real quick? You can get a 5x7 backdrop for under $15 any day on Amazon and just about anything. And teacher supply stores, again, I'm kind of mopey about this one because we had one just not a mile from here and it recently closed, but they tend to have really good deals and stuff you can't find anywhere else. Number 7, I feel like I'm rushing. Is that right? 12:05. Let people help you. So like I said, when they come in, I was like, well, man, I've been stealing ideas off these ladies, and here they are coming to act like they're listening to me. Sister White started this thing, make a needs board. That's what I'm going to refer to for our Girls' Day. And I have never, ever seen that. And she literally just took a trifold poster board, put Post-it notes on it, put we needed a pound of butter. And you just signed your name on it. And people went to that. I never thought of that. And it was great. You just went and grabbed what you knew exactly what they needed. You signed, you committed to it, and then you had a date and time to have it here by. Know that people really want to help. You have to let them know. People don't just know you need help. And I'm very guilty about this one. But you have to ask if, it's one of those ask, seek, knock. If you need help, you're going to have to ask for it. People want to help. They have to know. And my least favorite is fundraising. I'd rather just do it. But at the end of the day, some people would much rather buy something from you than donate their time. And so it's definitely a resource that you got to lean into sometimes. We're going to move on to 8. In 1 Corinthians 3 and 6, it says, I have planted, Apollos has watered, but God gave the increase. When we decorate our Sunday school, regardless of the budget, regardless of the circumstance, we're sowing into lives, because here we're mostly focused on kids this week. We're not just decorating the room. What you see around you is great. I personally love doing this. I'd much rather just sit and do this stuff all day than clean and go to work and whatnot. I just find it very therapeutic. But why do we do it? We come in, we make it inviting, we make it fun. I've been adding stuff every week. My kids have kind of been like, well, what's she going to put up next? But we're doing it because we're trying to reach these kids. We're trying to create an atmosphere that's approachable to our kids. We can come in, we can tell the best Bible story. We can come in, we can connect with them. All those things are important. But when we create the environment for them to come in and feel safe, we're bringing them that much closer to getting in the presence of God. It's not just decorating. It's part of it. Like, it's really important. I don't know how to stress that enough. Well, she just decorated that. But you're bringing your kids in here. You're making them, you're planting seeds with it. I don't know. I just can't convey that enough. The teaching, we have to have it. We have to have the personal connection. We have to have the fun. But if we create the atmosphere, and like this room is creating the atmosphere, or like when some of us, we don't have a room. Like when we do children's church, we're taking over the old sanctuary, and that's an event hall. We don't just have permanent decorations in there. We're throwing a backdrop up, and it's up for, 12 hours, and it comes back down. But we are making that atmosphere. We're making it a place for them to meet God. And will it save them? No, but it definitely creates the fun and safe and inviting atmosphere. Make the atmosphere where your kids can feel safe, seen, and meet God. I've seen firsthand. I've had small budgets where I've been able to stretch it further than I could ever imagine. And there's other times I haven't had budgets and God's provided for it. Or I've had a set budget, and this has happened multiple times. I've been like, I have XYZ, and God has doubled it. They don't know what I have set. I've had people come and give me the exact amount that I already had set. Well, I kept my set amount and I just let it grow. I let it be increased. People have donated. Resources have shown up. Doors have opened. Like, I never volunteered for the library to get free printing, but it ended up being a blessing to me, and I'll take it as long as that door is open. God really cares about what we're doing. Like I said, this is not to discredit all the other parts of teaching and what we do when we show up. But the small task of decorating your classroom or your area, it's important, and God sees it. I guess we're kind of already into 9. Let me tell you that we are not here for perfection. Now, I've seen other people's stuff, and I think it's perfect. I can tell you right now, that spot on the wall behind me is bothering me. I can show you every flaw in this room, and if there's hot glue spots on the floor, just move along. But God's not looking for perfection. He sees our heart. He sees what we're doing. It's all for the kids. Like, it's not, it could be, maybe it's somebody might make it perfect. It's not going to be perfect here. Like I said, I can see every flaw around me, but that's not what's important. What's important is creating the safe and fun environment where we can then come in, we can teach, and we can have the altar call where we can have that personal connection with our kids, and that is what's important. God sees the budget, He sees our efforts, and He sees our heart. So I'm encouraging you to keep planning, of course, keep decorating and keep making your space for Jesus to meet. My notes are backwards. This is great. Keep making your space where your children can meet Jesus. So I'm going to open up the floor because, first of all, well, I'll just share with you what I learned in California. I opened up the floor and I was like, I want your tips and tricks because, like I already told you, there's a line of ladies back here that I've got stuff in my handout about. But in California, I opened this up, and did you know you can go to Sam's Club and ask for the sheets between the flats? And that's free cardboard. They will give you a whole card of it when you ask for it. Unfortunately, I live an hour from a Sam's Club and I drive a little car or I'm doing something else. But if you live close to a Sam's Club or a Costco, literally they say go to the service desk and they make all their props out of it at this church that she said that. And I'm like, I would have never thought of that. Of course, like I said, it's not as easily accessible for us, but I don't know your situation. So I'm throwing that one out there because I thought that's phenomenal. And so I may still use it at some other point. Does anybody have any tips or tricks or any questions? Yes, ma'am.
My favorite tool are these battery-operated scissors I got off Amazon. To cut cardboard with.
Battery-operated scissors.
Charge them up, and then they cut fast, easy. Fabric too.
Oh, that's cool.
Got blades swapped out for fabric.
I may have to get a link for that. That sounds up my alley. Yeah, but that sounds like something you could use over and over again. And being somebody that's cut a lot, you might appreciate it being motorized. Yes, ma'am.
Like you had said, like you kept adding things. I thought that was like it doesn't have to be done.
Yeah, I would actually. I want it to be done. Unfortunately, this time when I was decorating my room, it was also the week of Summit. So I didn't ever get it to like where I love it. But I found, because I'm in this predicament this quarter, that it's actually keeping the kids engaged because every week they come in here, they're seeing something new. And so like, now they're like, what are we going to do next? So, and then another thing with decorating that I would encourage that I've only started doing like the last year, putting the kids' pictures on the wall. They, like, even some of my kids who have aged out here, they're coming in to see if they made the wall, because I try to only do the past year. That way it's still fairly relevant. But it's really engaged them. They're like, oh, look, there's me with Sister Bradshaw. Or they'll remember, like, there's pictures at the Christmas party, and only the kid that's under the wrapping paper remembers who's under the wrapping paper. But you know what I mean? Like, that's really got them involved, and like then they're going back and remembering, and then hopefully that's triggering, oh, with this they taught such and such and whatnot when that was going on. Any more questions or comments or helpful tips? Yes, ma'am.
So do you, for your decorating, so do you do it as in like, you do it quarterly?
Yes, we do it with our quarter. So in here as Sundays, we do Sunday school every week of the month except for the last week. And children's church, I'm over that, but it's separate from this.
Okay.
So we decorate every quarter, and our quarters tend to last 5 to 6 months.
Okay. I didn't know, I wasn't sure if you broke it up as in like the 12 months of the year, or if you just kind of do it.
No, I personally haven't, but see, now my mom, she does Sunday school, and they're doing a theme, and she just went and added a bunch of fall leaves and stuff to hers. So like she kept the same theme,
Yeah.
but she made it like her tree will change colors. And it, like, she didn't do it last year, but this year she brought it back. And so I bet you come December it'll have snowmen.
Yeah.
And so that is fun, but I personally don't. I do it per the quarter, and it works better for us because we are using the holiday pack currently to make up for our holidays. So like I said, we're on lesson 5 this quarter, and we won't be done, and we will probably start new quarter February. So it'll be up for a
All
while.
of your classrooms use the same curriculum?
No, we currently do not. 6 through 10 uses the WPF ACTS curriculum.
Okay.
4 and 5 is waiting for WPF to come out with a more younger version because they found it really hard to modify it for their class. Do you know what you're currently using?
It is
I put her on the spot.
it's an older version. It's
Pentecostal Publishing, yes.
it's worth playing, I think.
Mm-hmm. And prior to this, we used Pentecostal Publishing House Power Hours. Does anybody else have any more questions? I think we got 1 minute, and then we'll dismiss. Well, you guys have been. Oh, I'll take one.
I just was question for you. What's like the most like creative thing you just figured out to like make or put into something?
So I would say my most proud of thing, and unfortunately it got water damaged, it was my nerd sign. So this is the project I asked if I could use the library room, and I made a nerd sign probably as wide as this green section behind me, and I looked at that I literally bought a Nerds box and I remade the sign. And so we had used it. We would do like nerd themes, and everybody would dress like nerds, but we would do the nerds candy, and then hand out nerds that's in children's church. We try to do like small things big, and that has been my absolute favorite. And Talkies, Talk About Jesus, we made a big Talkies bag. That's probably my second. And we actually made the Talkies pop off the bag, and it glowed in the dark where it looked like the flames were lighting up. So those are my probably 2 favorites. I should have made pictures. I thought about it, but I've been a little busy. Well, I think that's the end of our time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad y'all came in, and have fun going to the other sessions. Bye. You can do it.
Did you say it's like the 4x8 sheets of cardboard at Costco and Sam's?
Yes, I think she said. I'm trying to think. I think they're just flat separators. I'm sure they'll find it. She said that she would ask for them at the service desk, and they literally bring her a whole cart full of them.
I'm gonna try that. Yeah, that's what I
Well, yeah, she lives really close to one, and I thought that was like the best idea ever because
absolutely.
you can't get cardboard's so expensive, and foam board is too, and then you had to either buy little posters or you're buying the whole sheet.
Right.
And big projects like next door, that's great, but you can fit that in the trunk of your car.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, absolutely. Costco's and Sam's is who they told me to check on those. Well, ladies, I hope it goes great.
Cause you gotta be.
Maybe you just. He said to use the microphone. So it.
I gotta be serious enough to be on live. If nobody else can see you. No, I'm just I'm so glad it's y'all.
Well, somebody will still hear it, so you're good.
Kalyn, I'm gonna put my little
All
stuff up
right,
here.
ladies. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna go back and listen to it. So.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I don't really know where to put my stuff exactly. Oh, Jesus. But it's kids. It's kids. That's, that's the deal. y'all teach in toddler class?
Well, I worked at a daycare for 5 years, and I worked at the Toddlers, and I actually really loved it. Right now I'm working at a preschool, but I've been missing.
What group do you do at preschool?
I need to place it somewhere in here.
I know, but I want to get back into. I'm going to
What'd you say? You
online.
do the what?
I do 3 to 5 year olds right now, but I'm working on getting early childhood education because I want to go back to doing old. I just loved it. So yeah, those toddlers. Yeah, very handful, but I love it.
They are. Do you teach in toddlers?
I don't teach toddlers. I teach 4 and 5.
Gotcha.
But I'm over the like toddlers and kindergarten part. So.
Gotcha.
I guess I'll go and look. Well, it's 12:09. I'm waiting till 12:10.
I'm using this because they said I need it for live, but you can't hear me any better. So if I need to be louder, y'all tell me. Thank y'all for being here. I want to give a special thanks to those who trusted me to teach this. It is an honor, and I do not take it lightly. I've never spoke like this over our toddlers before, but I feel honored. A little about me. My name is Kalyn Hargrove. I'm married to a wonderful man. I have 2 wonderful children and another little one on the way. I have been teaching in our 2 and 3 year old class for 8.5 years. I started when I was 16 and I have loved it. This age, it's a hard age, but it's a passion of mine, and I feel like it's one of my deepest callings. I am honored to teach here at what I think is the best church, First Pentecostal Church. What I'm going to start with is the goal of our toddler class. As the main teacher, I've put a lot of prayer and thought into what should our goal be, because ours is 2 and 3 year olds, and that is a hard age. The difference between a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old is drastic. If you ever have taught 2-year-olds or you have a 2-year-old, you know that between 2 and 3, it's huge difference. Some of the 2-year-olds that come in, they are barely talking. Then you have some that can hold on full conversations. Some have never been away from mama, and some are ready to run and go play. So to pull the difference in how you teach them, you have to be pretty creative. The goal of our class is to instill the basic Bible stories into them, no matter what age. Even myself, I go better by listening to just simple, creative things. And so that's how we treat it. We just do simple and fun. Those of you that have been in church your entire life or been raised around this, I'm going to ask y'all a question. Do you remember the first time, you can just raise your hand if you do, that you ever learned the story of Noah and the ark? Not the depth of it, but you ever remember? Probably not. And that's how it should be, because it should have been instilled into you at such a young age. You don't remember the beginning of learning these basic Bible lessons. And that is our job as toddlers, to instill into them just the basic things. Our 2 and 3 year olds, they don't understand the plan of salvation. To be honest with you, when we ask them, do you want to get baptized? No. They say, no, I don't want to go underwater. Or they think it's swimming. They think it's fun. They do not understand. They can grasp that there is one God. His name is Jesus. The simple things. So we don't go into huge depth to where we're just confusing them, but we try to instill the basic things. They do understand that Jonah got swallowed by a big fish, or Noah had to build a big ark with animals. You got to get down on their level to teach them, and it helps a lot. So that's really the heart of our toddler class, is just laying a simple but unshakable foundation of truth that they can build on as they grow. With that foundation in place, one of the most important steps that we face each week is drop off and handling excessive crying. You're going to handle crying. Most Sundays we have somebody that may cry, but a lot of times, they might cry for 2 minutes, and then when mama leaves, they're done crying. They'll just give them a hard time. But during drop off, what we do is we try to create a comfortable, calm environment. We try not to just be wild, crazy play, toys all over the place as soon as they come in. we try to offer distractions. We have puzzles, which they love. We have a little book place. We have little mirrors they can look at themselves. And then lots of snacks. Some things that we've learned our kids love are goldfish, marshmallows, animal crackers, Fruit Loops, and then gummies and juice. I like to get like the Capri Sun or the Kool-Aid jammers because I'm a mom, and I'm like, will you please not give them red juice on their smocked outfits or their church clothes? So whenever they see that, they know, hey, we get snacks when we go in Sunday school. A lot of times these kids have not ate good breakfast, so it's good distracting. We are always ready to open the door and welcome children. And we try to make the transition as smooth as possible for mom. It's just as hard on the mom sometimes that have never dropped their kids off as it is the kid. So try to make that as smooth as possible. And one of the main things is establishing a good routine. 2 and 3 year olds thrive on routine. They need a schedule. If it's always chaos, it's always different, that's what you're creating, is chaos. So for our 2 and 3 year olds, it's the same pretty much each week. Everything doesn't go as planned, but try to keep routine as much as possible. I never want to force a child to stay, because sometimes you have kids that cry and they won't stop crying. If it's their first week, we'll tell mom, hey, let me get your number if I don't have their number. And if they keep crying, we'll tell you. But a lot of times, you'll get them and you try to distract them, do everything you can. Sometimes you just have to hold them and comfort them at this age. However, if they will not stop, after 10 to 15 minutes, we will call mom. Because the goal of Sunday school is not for them to dread it. We want them to love it. So I'll tell mom, hey, if it didn't work this week, try again next week. If next week they won't stay the whole time, maybe they'll stay the whole time the next time. Sometimes it takes months. As a 2-year-old, it's going to take a while. By the time they're 3, a lot of times they're ready to run and they are ready to hit the road. And they're excited, but you just have to work with them. Each child is so different. And that is the next important thing, is learning each child's needs and wants. That is a huge part of drop-off, handling crying, is learning that child. That child may hate doing puzzles. Don't offer them puzzles. But if you know that they love books about animals, go get that book of animals. If you learn that child, it helps a lot. We have a little girl in our class who loves doing crafts. She would do everyone's crafts. I'm talking about Libby. If she could. So you know what we do? We let her have a little extra craft time. If everybody else is done doing crafts, she can stay and do crafts a little longer because that's what she enjoys. She knows she comes in Sunday school to do crafts, so we're going to let her do it because that's what she loves. We have another little boy that listens best when he is being held. He's a little bit distracting if not being held, so you know what we do? We hold him during lesson time because that's what works. We have a little girl that does not like gummies, so when you're offering gummies to everyone else, give her something different because that's what she doesn't like. Taking time to learn these things makes a huge difference. When you know their likes, their dislikes, and their interest, you can connect with them more personally. Find out little things about these kids. Do they have a dog at home? If they do, find out the name of that dog and ask them, hey, did you play with whatever that dog's name is? And their little face will light up, because when they see a connection from home and their personal life in Sunday school, it makes them feel more comfortable. Another huge thing that is part of our Sunday school is curriculum. Over the few years that I have done this, I've tried multiple curriculums, and you may have one that works great for y'all. For us, for our 2 and 3 year olds, I've tried multiple and none of them worked. They were just too advanced. I would have to tone them down so much that it was just like, I'm going to start creating my own curriculum. So that's what I do. I write my own curriculum. Really, I don't write it. The Bible writes it for me. I just put it into a plan that works for our toddlers. The key is simplicity and repetition. I have learned that toddlers thrive on series. Right now, you'll hear us talk about this because we're in the series of the 10 plagues. And you think the 10 plagues, toddlers love it. They absolutely love the plagues. Right now, I think we'll start plague 8, I believe, and they are saying, Pharaoh, Pharaoh, let my people go. They love it. They know who was the mean man, who was the good man. what happened, what was hopping around. They'll all say, frogs. What did water turn to? Blood. And like, we have some kids that have a swimming pool. We'll say, can you imagine if your swimming pool was full of blood? Get down on their level, and they love it. So that's what works best for us with the curriculum is a series. Like if we do 3 plagues in one day, it does not work. Not for our 2 and 3-year-olds. It's over their head. You didn't even get nothing to them. They can't go home and tell you 1 plague. So we've done, like, the plagues are a 10-week series. Each week we do 1 plague, and then we'll review every single week. That's what we're in. Another good one is the days of creation. I normally try to start the year, the beginning off with the beginning of the world, the days of creation, and we do 1 day of creation per week, and we review each week what happened the last week, day 1, day 2. It gets in their head because at this age they need so much repetition. In between these, I will do what I call basic Bible lessons, as I was saying. Noah and the ark, Jonah and the well, Joseph, David, so many. There's so many options. Just to continue repeating these stories so that they get them into them. During the month of December, we use the whole month of December to talk about the birth of Jesus. We revise it in different ways. But by the end of the month, they have gotten it because it's been continually gone through their head. They might not have grasped it the first week you said something. By the second week, the third week, it's really getting into them. They're in for our class for 2 years. So by the time that they go to the next class, they have heard each story 4 or more times. We repeat. Normally I'll do something 6 months, something different the next 6 months, and then I'll repeat it. It's normally the same thing each year because at this age, they need to hear it more than once. So that's important. And because I've created my own curriculum, I can pace it for this age group. Choosing how long each series should last, which activity complements this. There are certain songs that can go along with, little lessons. It just depends. Instead of trying to cram too much into one day, I do it to where it lasts longer, and that has worked really good. And it makes the kids anticipate what's going to happen next week. Leave them with a cliffhanger, like come back next week and you'll see there was frogs this week. What's going to be hopping around next week? And it makes them excited for Sunday school. I know it's working when parents come home and tell the parent that they were learning about. It might not be word for word, but the parents know enough that sometimes they'll come ask us, did y'all teach about this today? We're like, yeah, we did. Well, that means that they was listening. To get to a 2 and 3-year-old for them to listen, it makes you feel really good as a teacher because it's like, hey, I got to them. I connected to them enough to get their interest. So as a teacher, there's no greater joy than knowing that you have made an impact on these young lives. Before I finish, I want to talk about the helpers in our classroom. They're actually all in here today, and I could not do this without the amazing helpers I have. One of the biggest things is to actively motivate, encourage your teachers. It doesn't take a lot. All you have to do, one of the most simple but powerful ways to motivate a helper is acknowledgement. Let them know, hey, you did a really good job today, or thank you so much for pulling that child in. Thank you for taking that child out when they were being bad. Thank you for getting down on their level and looking silly when I know it was hard. Because to be complimented and told you did really good, it does make a difference. If someone comes to you and said, I really got something out of what you said, it makes a difference to me. It's like, oh, good, I did something. So just let them know you see what they're doing. Tell them thank you. It's also important to invite their ideas. If they see something that is working better than what you're doing, listen to them because it may work, Get their contribution. It does matter. It encourages them to keep being creative and involved. Another key point is building confidence. Some teachers may be nervous and they might be like, I don't want to teach in front of other adults. It's hard. It is very hard to get down on a toddler level in front of other adults. But whatever you ask of them, make sure you do even more. I know I look absolutely silly sometimes in front of our toddlers. I may talk silly. I may do silly things. But that's going to make whoever else is teaching, whoever's doing something else, feel more comfortable. Like, well, they look that silly, so I'm not going to look sillier than them. it helps them. It helps build their confidence. Maybe give little things to help them step out of their comfort zone. Maybe say, this week I want you to lead a song. Next week, can you do craft? Can you come up with a game? And always, if they're lacking or they're struggling that day, because we all have days that struggle, just be like, hey, it's okay, I'll back you up. Always back them up. Even if they're doing an amazing job, back them up. If you're teaching about something and that teacher asks a question, well, no kids are answering, go behind the kids, whisper in their ear, or say whatever quote that they're saying also, just to motivate them. At our church, I know every church can't do this, but I think it's awesome. We have a program called Leader in Me, and it's for teenage girls that want to help, but they're not old enough to have that position. We have 11 girls that rotate each week, and they'll come in there. They're not over anything specifically, but they are helping. They'll help hand out snacks. They help supervise. We don't have them do anything like take them to the restroom, but we may say, can you wipe their hands? Can you do this or that? And it is planting a love for Sunday school into the next generation. If possible, I think it is awesome to include your younger ones, because that's who's going to take over when we're done. So it's awesome to be able to do that. Some of them come in and realize this is not for me, and then some it's like, that's my calling. That is what I want to do when I can, and you're training them more than you even realize. I'm thankful for this opportunity to share a little bit of about how we teach and care for our toddlers. I'm going to hand things over to my mom, which is one of my co-teachers, and she's going to share some other important insights about different aspects of Sunday school.
She did great. That's a hard act to follow. My name is Lisa White. I've been married to my husband for almost 33 years. I have 3 adult children, 2 sons and a daughter, and Kalyn is one of our daughters. To say I'm proud is an understatement. This is what we raise our children for, to love and to serve Jesus, and I am honored to teach under her lead. During the week, I teach school at Christ Classical Academy, and there's nothing more rewarding, I think, that I do than to teach younger children. When you see them get it, it's just, I don't know, unless you do it, you don't know how rewarding it is. What's really rewarding, and I can say this at my age, is when you see those children that you have taught, those little girls that you held because they were crying because they miss mom, or the little boys that had extra wiggles, and now you see them grown up and they're serving and in the kingdom of God. That is what's really rewarding. Every one of our churches are different in little ways. We may have a different setups. We have different schedules, different leadership. That makes us different, but our goals are all the same, which is in toddler class, which is to raise these children to love Sunday school, and then in turn they're going to love church and they're going to love Jesus, and that's our goal. I read something just recently, and it said it was a little poem, and it was saying just teach them love. And if we could just teach them love, really, it sounds simple, and really it is. Just love them. That's how you teach love. Okay. Let's see. I am supposed to talk about our schedule. Well, just like all apostolic church, we can't really run on a strict time schedule because we don't know what time our church is getting out. So our class, and it was working for us, we work on a routine schedule. So we do follow a certain guide. And for time's sake, I'm not going to go over that, but I do have several copies. Then we follow this guide. We come in. That's what we can follow, is that Kalyn asked us to be there at a certain time. We know well in advance what we're teaching. I can look at my planner and I can tell you what Sunday I'm going to be teaching on, what my subject I'm going to be teaching on. She gives us plenty of time to prepare. She asked that the main teacher be there. We start service at 10:30. So she asked the main teacher to be there at 10 o'clock, and then the co-teacher and the leader and me helper to be there at 10:15. Kids come in between 10:15 and 10:45, so we kind of wait to do our lesson, and we keep it short. 5 minutes tops, that's about the attention span that we have. But really our lessons are a lot longer because we reinforce those lessons through crafts, through review, through songs. So really you would say a 5-minute lesson really is a 20-minute lesson if you count all that other stuff. But as far as just having their attention, you don't have very long. But we follow that routine. I cannot stress enough. If you want, because people might say, well, how do y'all keep it calm? And, you know, because of routine and structure. Children this age thrive on routine and structure. If they know what's coming next, they don't know the clock. They can't look at the clock and say, oh, it's 11 o'clock, whatever. But they do know, okay, we're done with our lesson. Now we're going to do a craft. When we're done with our craft, then we get to go play toys. So they know that when we come in, we don't go straight to the toy room. And they're fine with that. They know it's going to come. They love the toy room. They know when we start singing the cleanup song, they're going to help clean up. It's fun. We make it a game. Then they know that we're going to go sit on our little carpet dots, and we're going to go. And we've just started that, and already they are catching on. And they know that they're probably going to get gummies and a sucker, and they're going to answer questions, and we're going to sing songs while we wait on our next cue. Our church works on a group text system, so somebody from the main sanctuary will tell us like altar calls starting. That's kind of our cue. So that's our schedule. Next, I get to talk about what I want to talk about the most, which is making lesson planning fun. I'll just say that a teacher will set the tone for her classroom. So just keep things happy. You know, we don't want to show that like, oh my goodness, that child, you know, it's just, and it's really easy to be happy. So stay happy. And I'm just going to show y'all just a few things that we use to make lesson planning fun. Kalyn's already said we're on the series right now of Pharaoh, let my people go. And we kind of are bringing home like Pharaoh should have listened to Moses. Like we should listen to our parents and our leaders and our pastor. And he should have just listened. When is he going to learn his lesson? And we'll always go over and we review. That's another thing that I would say is repetition is key. So in whatever we're doing, let's see. So, like this past Sunday, we was on the plague of the hail, and well, to them, you don't say that because they wouldn't even understand. But ice was falling from the sky. He wasn't listening. Now, ice was falling from the sky everywhere, and my co-teacher was actually the one who was teaching this Sunday. And all of a sudden, she takes sonic ice and she starts throwing it everywhere. Well, it kind of was shocked, but y'all know what? They probably won't forget that lesson of the ice was falling from the sky, or when we had the plague of the frogs. I ordered on Amazon, I think it was like 100 frogs when I taught this lesson. And when they come in, there was frogs in their snacks, they were in their chairs, they were all over the floors, they were everywhere. We had 100 frogs. And they loved it. We sent some of those frogs home, and then the other ones are still in our toys, and they're still playing with those little things. It's just so much fun. You just bring the Bible to life. That's how we're going to keep their attention. And they do remember it. Like they're remembering all these little things, and we're repeating it every week. Kalyn actually taught this lesson whenever of the parting of the sea, and she made a dish of Jell-O, and she was teaching the lesson. Now, this was just a solid dish of Jell-O. How are they going to get across the sea? And she kind of just slips the dish of Jell-O back to me, and I just take a spatula and, you know, run it through there. And then then the people, aka Lego men or little people or whatever you want to use, they can walk through the sea. But when they get it back, now it was solid, and when I slip it back to her, the sea is parted, and they get a Jell-O snack, you know. So whenever we just taught the lesson of Pharaoh, let my people go, and I had just done on cardstock, I just printed out Pharaoh and then cut him out, and then stickers, y'all. They're key. Like they love them. They're still young enough that it's a bit challenging to them, just the peel and stick stickers. They love them, and you know, so they just stuck the little dots. This is more like what really looked like because they didn't just stick them right where they were supposed to, but this took a long time, y'all. They were proud of that work. And this, you can get like the stickers at Walmart. I just went and grabbed them at Walmart. We take advantage of holidays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day. We just did this one. And we do handprint crafts. We'll do that 3 or 4 times a year. And we have a laminator in our Sunday school room. And we have learned how to dry handprints really quickly. You just take paper towels and you just pat them dry, run it through that laminator, and then 3 or 4 times a year, moms love these crafts because then they go home and they have a keepsake craft. Whenever we're teaching Jonah and the Whale, we put a tablecloth over a table, and instead of just sitting like we usually do, you get under the table and you actually get to be in the belly of the whale when you're telling the story of Jonah and the Whale. You could even open up a can of tuna fish and make the belly of the whale really stinky. And or the walls of Jericho, we used our big Legos and we marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times, and then the walls come tumbling down. Let's see. I got brave when I did this craft right here, and I did this one. We did fork painting, and scared Kalyn a little bit, but when I started, because, you know, they're in their church clothes. But I think they loved it. Nobody went home with their clothes messed up. It was all good. And this series is the one we brought home, and we said, God is always with me. And we kind of just really brought that home. David and Goliath, we did the just on cardstock, and then they got to glue their little 5 stones on there. Whenever we did the Days of Creation, we had these blown up, and every week you would review it. So they're seeing it on cardstock. So that's their reminder, and that helps them. This was the plague of the flies, and flies went everywhere, and they all got their little straws with their flies, and we put their names on the Ziploc bags. Nobody shared germs, I don't think. And sometimes it's just a coloring sheet. They love to glue, so we did like the strips for Joseph in the coat of many colors, and then we just cut the little coat out so it looked a little neater and put it on there. But they designed it, and they were proud of it. This was last Sunday when we did the hell, and then they got to glue. We just helped with the stick glue, but they got to put the hell, and it was funny, y'all, because I should have brought one. They did, because all the hell would be like in one place, you know, all the pieces of ice. It's fun. Just bring it to life. That's little crafts that you can do. And then repetition, I love to talk about stuff like this because it's just fun. But for time's sake, I have to go on and talk about handling behavior. I have to say, y'all, we're teaching toddlers, 2 and 3-year-olds, or even some of y'all was talking about you teach 4 and 5-year-olds. We know that learning and growing challenges are just normal. Kalyn's already said if a child can't be comforted, then we do send them back out to their parent if we can, because the goal is we want them to love our Sunday school, right? We want them to grow and be like, Sunday school is cool, it's fun. But if we can't get them to the point where they won't stop crying, we really can't do what we're supposed to be doing, which is planting those seeds. And and it will come in time. But when they come in and they're just 2 years old, it may take a lot of time, like she was saying, to get them comfortable. And we want them to be like that because we don't want them to be anxious. We want them to love Sunday school. It'll happen. We have one little boy, Jet, and he loves Spider-Man. And so one Sunday, he kind of couldn't decide if he really wanted to come in or not. He was always a little bit like that. And he's done left us now. He's moved up to the 4-year-old class. But I said, guess what color we're going to color with today? Red. And that's what color Spider-Man is. Well, he came right in, and I did let him color with red. And I think that was the Sunday we were doing the blood, I think. And but, you know, you just kind of do things like that, and whatever it takes, y'all. Just put, like she said, just whatever it takes. But we do want our Sunday school to feel safe. We want every single child to feel treasured, special, loved. That's another reason I like the handprint crafts, because that time is a good time I've learned to connect. You just, you know, like if you're coloring, you're doing the brown handprint, say, you might say, oh my goodness, your handprints look like they have mud on them. Have you ever played in the mud? It's just a one-on-one time. And if you can catch those times, it's good to connect with those children. When you do that, they naturally want to behave for you if you can get them to the point of loving you. We do a lot of redirecting in our class. That's the way we handle behavioral issues. We redirect. Also, you could say positive behavior is kind of contagious, but so is negativity. So you don't want to you want to focus on the positive. So you might say like, Sally, thank you so much for sitting up so straight and tall and using your listening ears. Or Billy Bob, you know, you're really doing good today. Because then that one that's probably not really behaving, a lot of times they're like, I want to get praise too. And so they'll redirect themselves and it'll be good. If they don't redirect themselves, then we would remove that child from the group. We just did this a few Sundays ago. I was co-teaching, and I was actually the lead teacher that day. And he was in the floor, this little boy, and it just wasn't he was probably hungry. He was probably tired. And then I just asked my coworker just to slip him out, and he did. I mean, she did, and he ended up doing fine. And the rest of the class, it was great. Y'all, every week is a new chance to make Jesus real. And our main goal is to plant seeds in these children to love and to serve him. Our kids may not remember the words we say, but what they will remember is the way we made them feel. It's our job to make Sunday school fun, a joyful place, and full of love. Remember this, we're magic makers. We're memory makers. Every penny and every minute spent in prayer and preparation is worth it all. One day, our goal is that we'll see all these children to serving God. So Jesus, help us to be the kind of teachers that can impact little lives for good. And I know my time is running short, am I? Yes. So I'm going to turn it back to Kalyn. Hopefully maybe I said something that might help you.
Well, it's almost time. Does anybody have any questions or advice on how y'all do things in Sunday school? No? Okay. Well, it's lunchtime. Thank y'all for coming in here.
I can bring y'all, maybe. I know her too. I was like, oh, I'm bored.
All
Her
of my
now.
family were like, no, we're not. She come over here to me and said, "Can I fall asleep? Will you please wake me up?"
Who said that?
I know how hard it is. I did the dance to take all their attention.
I started on class now, but some of the ladies go background because they don't have what you were talking about. I'll have to share it.
Do you have that first?
Yes.
Yeah,
What about the other papers? Yeah.
That's kind of what we go by.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Did y'all want one of those?
So
Oh,
with your
absolutely. I wanted to hear what y'all had to say.
They've talked to me about writing. Got that wrote down. I can send also their mind language.
My little fly.
Yeah. Yes. Repeated exposures work for us.
Has Kalyn talked to you about tomorrow?
No, I was just fixing to say, I got my bugs for the locust or whatever, but I don't have my paper. I forgot to go to the library.
Well,
and they
she
close
might
at
change
3:30.
it. She might change it just a little bit.
I don't.
I'll ask her because the book is going to be staying.
Right.
I think we're going to
Thank you. Next time we go.
ask her about tomorrow.
Kaylin, what are we doing tomorrow? Because I have my bugs.
We'll stay out there.
Okay, good, because
They just
But
decided.
now I want you to teach that though, because she's got
Well,
the book.
probably what we'll do is we're just gonna do an extra like Thanksgiving lesson, and we'll take off the Thanksgiving lesson because we just repeat, and so we'll extend this. I'll send y'all a updated version.
Would you like how we do it, ma'am? This is
I
our
gotta
guide.
fix some of that.
I mean, you didn't even see this here. Take one. I need people to stand there. I got party. Oh, it wasn't.
I felt like my voice was shaking.
You did amazing. No,
You did great.
You did great.
I gotta
I
go
feel like
work
I
later
read
on,
one.
'cause I gotta go settle up with
I didn't even say
Sally.
half of what I was
I know,
supposed to
after
say.
that,
It went so fast.